So something I've noticed with this Jotaz boss fight is that I'm pretty sure it's bugged. And unless the devs are writing a post up as I'm recording this, nobody's said so yet, but I'm pretty sure the event has to be bugged. The reason I think that is very simple. Um, Top Giga Whales right now. So if we go to the leaderboard, we go to the global. The top Giga Whales are getting stuck at about 10,000 damage at tier 3. If you've seen somebody stream this new update, the one that comes to mind is Arnold T101. That guy gets to about 10% of the score in tier 3 that you can get, and then he's hard stopped from doing more damage. Pretty much all of these are you get to you do one attack. That one attack is Stormtrooper Luke's swarm. You deal about this much damage, and then the ramping up of the stats for the Jotaz kicks in, and you're dealing one damage for the rest of these turns. I don't think that's intended by the devs. Um, and I am giving a benefit of the doubt on this one. So if we go to the feature info, we go to the Jotaz, we see here Roar of the Crowd. The damage this unit deals is increased as points are earned, and as you earn more points, the damage this unit receives is also decreased. So the idea here is that if you have a stronger unit, you'll be able to survive longer, deal more damage out of the gate. Better units will survive longer and survive all of this. But if enemies take 10 consecutive turns, this unit gains 200 speed, 30% offense, takes a bonus turn, all buffs are dispelled on all enemies, yada yada yada. That part doesn't matter. The part that matters is this part right here. The damage received is decreased as points are earned. This is overtuned as all heck. Currently, tier 1, you can rather effectively beat it at about level 15, 4 stars. I am close to beating it on this account. This is my one account that I have, the Jeff Beard account that has done all the other SWGOH videos. I spent about 8,000 crystals on this that I had stockpiled free to play for the last couple of weeks. Got my Luke to 4 stars, level 13, and made it almost to the end of tier 1. And that feels about fair to me. But it takes until about level 35-ish, or I forget where exactly it is, but it's somewhere around level 35 to 45 where you're finally able to start dealing damage to the Jotaz in tier 2. Because as it currently works, Call of the Roar realistically allows you to do in later tiers. Call of the Roar will just restrict your damage and make it so that you're done playing the Jotaz. So like in tier 2, you will get your 10% damage roughly for a Luke swarm attack, and then you will be cut off from doing any more damage. You will deal 1 damage per hit, and you will slowly wait until the Jotaz kills you. That is a very unfun experience. So, giving the developers the benefit of the doubt here, I don't think that's the intended experience. From what I've seen, over here is where you would get the majority of the equipment that you'd need. It's not the majority of the equipment, but it's some form of acquiring the equipment to get yourself upgraded in this event. So like these are all the materials you use to get from level 5 to level 15. Then when you get to tier 2, I'm not at tier 2 yet, so I don't have it here. But when you get to tier 2, you get a one-time reward that changes all of these to the tier 2 equivalents, and then, or the Mark 2 equivalents. And then when you get to tier 3, you get the Mark 3 equivalents. And if we go look at Luke, that makes sense because you get Luke up to level 15, and about here you're able to take down the Jotaz, and then you go here, up, you can't go further without this currency, and this currency I can't do that, but it's available as a Coliseum reward. And then I can scroll up here, and I can see the Mark III materials. It's not available, but I can tell you, this is a Coliseum reward. You just can't see it right now. Unless you've beaten tier 1, at which point you can see it at the end of the tier 2 equipment, or you can get to tier 3 right now if you're a whale, and you can see that that's all the stuff that's there. So then the question becomes, how are free-to-play players supposed to do this? Level 35, you don't need any of these new currencies, and we get la-da-da-da-da. We're all fine. Level 36. There's nowhere else to get these new currencies for leveling up these characters. You can only get them by buying the actual pieces of gear on the store for real world money. You can't even pay crystals to buy any gear beyond the tier 1 gear. But essentially, from about here onwards, it is like I would argue right now, if a free-to-play player were to come along and absolutely grind out everything they possibly could, ignoring damage scaling, theoretically the highest you can reach is this point, level 36. And that's because at tier 46, at level 46, you need a Mark 5 Crush material, or whatever the heck that is. You need a Mark 6 Besh at level 62. You need whatever the heck, oh, that's still more Mark 6s. And then we need more performance cores or whatever. And then we need more of them, and more of them. And wait a minute, Mark 7s, is that level 70? Yeah, after level 70, you're going to need the Mark 7s. And the Mark 7s are what are currently preventing the Giga Whales from getting past this point. Players who are able to buy their way to glory right now aren't really able to get beyond level 72 effectively because, like, they're missing this equipment. And if we go down even more, hey, look, Mark 8 materials. Hey, look down here. There's not, I thought there would be a Mark 9, but you get my point. Players are not currently able to find this material in the game unless you buy this stuff. And this you can get from here. This you can only get from the marquee event. And I'll tell you right now, this, you get like 5 a day here on tier 7. You get 5 a day here on tier 6. You get like 5 a day here on tier 5. You can max this out, but like you're not getting anywhere really with this because that's 15 a day for 7 days. You get about 100, and all right, you get hard stone walled about here, about level 80, level 79-ish, assuming that you buy everything right now. There is not a way to currently get yourself up to level 95 for the whales, and there is no free-to-play way without spending real-world money, even assuming that you don't have to. You could have hoarded 200 billion crystals up to this point. Unless you have real-world money, you can't get beyond level 36 right now. You physically can't. And the developers have said that the intentions were that free-to-play players would be able to receive right about up to here, level 65, before level 66 kicks in and you need 4 stars. This is not obtainable by any means for a free-to-play player right now. And my theory with this is that it's supposed to be obtainable. Essentially, my theory is that there are actually 8 tiers of the JOTAS, and because, well, and really, because the event is so overtuned, that's maybe a hacker. We'll ignore that. Because the event is so overtuned, my theory is that no one is able to get past tier 3 right now. And because they're not able to get past tier 3, that's it. There's no going beyond tier 3 right now because you physically can't. And this isn't something that better strategy is going to solve. This isn't something that money is going to solve either. This is just hard cap. Players can't get past tier 3. If you're a free-to-play player, you do not have access to tier 4 and above equipment for free, and realistically, you don't have access to tier 3 equipment because level 25 characters aren't going to get past tier 2 of this event. So currently, I think that this event is bugged. I think that specifically the granted ability for this unit, Roar of the Crowd, is overtuned and preventing damage from being dealt at a much greater rate than it's supposed to, starting at tier 2 and going onwards. If this were to get fixed, I think that there would be more tiers to deal with. The Coliseum would be a bit more fun for whales. And players would be able to essentially punch up a lot more. There'd be a lot more than just right now. There are really 4 different tiers of player, which are the players who have a level 5 Luke and are getting about 15% to 20% on tier 1. There's the players like me who have gotten a couple levels on Luke and have gotten a little further into tier 1. Then there's the players who have made a real effort and have gotten past tier 1 and are stuck at 10% on tier 2. And then there's the players who have bought the character and have made it past the 10% barrier on tier 2, only to get hard stuck by the 10% barrier on tier 3. Essentially, I think that the JOTAS is not supposed to be tuned up this much, and I think that this is going to be a problem with all of the bosses because we look at Zepho Tomb Guardians, Roar of the Crowd, Dryax, Roar of the Crowd, Pirate ATST, Roar of the Crowd. This is going to be a problem with all the characters in the Coliseum until Capital Games fixes this.